Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 8 of our show, The Podcast of Us, a weekly podcast covering all things The Last of Us, covering the brand new TV show, and revisiting the 2 games of the same name. Just to let you know, while I've got your attention, and you've probably heard me say this before, but all previous episodes are all linked down below on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, and they're all in a fantastic playlist as well. So if you've got a spare 6 hours, give it a listen, 6-hour journey, really good, really good. My name's Matt, from Mateus Players, and I'm here and joined, as always, with Drew from Drewdaism. Hello, Drew.
Hello.
And hello, Nathan.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. I'd like to say a big hello as well to everyone live and everyone who is joining us from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. This is our first podcast that we are multi-streaming across all 3 platforms. So thank you very much if you are watching live, and an even bigger thank you very much if you are catching up on the podcast on the YouTube channel. Really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. This right here is your spoiler warning as we delve into episode 8 of The Last of Us TV show, titled When We Are in Need, with a runtime of 50 minutes. Watch that, come back, sit back, then relax, and let's hear some thoughts on episode 8. I would like to go first on this one here, if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think by itself, it's a very good episode by itself, if that makes sense to anyone.
Yeah.
If it's its own thing, like it was a brand new show, and I have nothing to compare it to, very good episode. But it's not the case. I would always have the games to go back to and compare it to. I just think everything is moving so incredibly fast, and that the series as a whole, this episode included, it just needs time to breathe. It just needs time to introduce characters that are going to stick around for longer than 20 minutes and just let us find out more about these people that we're meeting and these characters that we're meeting, and just let us soak it in. Just let us take our time with it. I want to really enjoy it, and I did enjoy it at the start with the first episode, and as the episodes have gone on, and I know we're just really talking about episode 8, but it's just starting to catch me a bit more. I'm on my phone more during the episodes. I'm drifting off easier, and it's got me worried. Got me marathon. It's got me worried. It's they've done the kind of, I've just read this in chat, and this is another one of my notes, so thank you very much for that. It's a marathon, not a sprint. They've kind of taken their time and paced themselves very, very well up to about, I don't know, like episode 3, and then they're just kind of like sprinting past so much stuff happening, and it's got me worried for season 2. I know we're not even at the end of season 1 yet. We're not even gone through all of season 8 yet, but I just want to soak in this world and breathe it in and just take my time with it. But I just feel like I'm being robbed of that.
I think it's some of the pacing issues with some of the earlier episodes where we talked about maybe them focusing on certain areas more than others. We're left with, like, they've only got 9 episodes to work in. And I'm pretty sure that they kind of, I'm guessing with TV shows, you take what you're given. So they're going to be like, right, we've got this budget. It can be this long. I mean, like Game of Thrones or like season 8. I don't know what their budget was, but they had time constraints. So I think I agree they could have worked with that a bit better. But I was happy with this episode, man. I really did like it.
And you sound it, and you sound happy with it, and that's good. That's a good thing. It can't just be the 3 of us unhappy with every episode. Yeah. This is good that we've got another opinion. This is good.
You take a positive spin in this one, Nate.
Yeah. Unlucky for you, you landed on positive this week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I totally agree with you. I think like some of the you can't ignore what's happened in the previous episodes because it does impact what happens with this episode in terms of its pacing and the fact that they've had to do it all in one episode. Mm-hmm. But for an episode, I think they did do really well. And I know this is going to flare Drew up, and this is probably going to lead on to what Drew thinks about the episode, but I think this episode not having infected worked.
I
think it was the right decision not to have infected in this episode.
I would have to
out-
disagree, but we'll cross that bridge when we get. We'll burn that bridge when we get there.
we'll go into it. We'll go into it. But by all means, other episodes they should have crammed more clickers in there. And I know Drew's fuming about that.
What's a
But,
clicker?
yeah,
What are you talking about?
yeah, what's a clicker?
What the fuck's a
It's
clicker? What?
It's I don't even know anymore. But yeah, no. I thought we'll go into it. But I thought like David, James or Buddy Boy as he's known. I mean, absolutely fantastic acting. I was scared that they weren't going to bring a good David to the table, but I think he absolutely nailed it. But we'll go into that. But yeah, overall, I think as this episode could have gone, I think it could have gone a lot worse, and I'm happy with it. But yeah, go on, Drew. Shields up. Shields at the ready. Go on, mate.
I don't know. I don't know where to start. I spoke to Matt briefly earlier, so I need to stop going off on tangents. But you've kind of all set me up for tangent from the get go.
You're the tangent guy, and that's okay.
I'm a tangent guy. I think this episode was very good. It was. I did enjoy it.
Wait, am I in the wrong?
It was a good episode, but I just feel the whole series is starting to leave me a bit, like a bit deflated. I think Bella did a fantastic job singing. I think she just played the part really well. I'm still not sold as Ellie, but she acted her ass off and she did very, very well. Matt, you say that you feel that everything's now going really fast paced. I agree with what you're saying, but also the cutscenes in themselves in the Last of Us game are only an hour and a half long. So they do have to beef that up, otherwise the whole kind of series would be an hour, and it would just be a movie. But so I do get that, but at the same time, you kind of want to explore these characters and get a bit more in depth. But then I don't know whether that's contradicting my theory on flashbacks.
Yeah.
Do you know, if you spend more time beefing up the characters, then like, what do I care if I know they're just going to die? So I'm not sure how I feel about that. What I am going to say is that I know we've gone on to it before and people have been like, oh, you just love the game so much. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
You got me.
No, I do. And my argument today is, and I've only thought of this today, okay?
Hot take.
I would understand why you'd tear from the game and introduce new characters and beef up other storylines and include flashbacks to characters if you are going to continue on to season 2, not following part 2. Because if you end the season 1 at the end of the first game, and then you're going to do the time jump, spoiler alert, into season 2, what's the point of introducing and giving huge backstories to characters we're not going to see the content of? I could understand if they were going to give these side characters bigger stories to lead on to the unknown area of what season 2 could be if it was the interlude between part 1 and part 2. But if you're not going to do that, what's the point? And then why deter from the game? So there's lots of things in this episode where they've kind of gone off the game a little bit, only very slightly. But I just feel like, well, why are you doing it? My argument is Kathleen. Kathleen had potential to be such a huge baddie in season 2.
I was so hyped for that character to kick some fucking ass. I was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, a brand new baddie that could rival David. This is incredible. Dead.
And that's the thing. Like, introduce Kathleen if you're going to do like the in between bits. But if you knew you was just going to kill her off straight away, what was the point?
I think I've said it before in a previous show. Sorry, Nathan, I'll let you go in a second. That if they stuck to the game, they would have lost everyone because they would have just turned around and gone, it's the game. You might as well just play the game again. They've just copied the game. But then if they deteriorate so much from the game that it's like, it's nothing like the game, I hate this. But I feel like they had to commit. They should have committed to either you're going to follow the game to its core, or you're going to deviate so much that it's just brand new content, and whatever happens, you just face the brunt of it. You're never going to please everyone, and that's okay. But because they're kind of dipping in and out, I feel like they haven't committed to either
Yeah.
side, and they're kind of just flowing in between of, oh, remember this bit from the game? Huh? Oh, Bill and Frank. Remember Frank? Yeah, no one does. Oh, and now I'm back over here. Hey, how about this one? Remember this happened? Yeah, Catherine's pretty cool. Oh, she's dead, by the way. Let's go back over to this. And it just feels like it's just waving around all over, and then they haven't committed to either retelling the story from the game or telling brand new stories and then panicking, going, oh, shit, how does this fit in with the game? We better fucking kill him. Better kill him.
Yeah, I don't think I'm necessarily angry at the episode. I think I'm just more that the episode was good, but it wasn't good enough to make up for the whole series.
Agreed. Sorry, Nathan, you were going to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying like, I suppose where do you draw the line then? Because like with Kathleen, on the one hand, they need to give a good enough background, and you need to dig into the character enough so that they have an impact on the plot and the story, and people might get attached to the character. Maybe Kathleen's that kind of villain where you can kind of see her motivations, but you might disagree with her actions, and that's kind of like a complex thing you have to explore as you're watching, and you can't just have a character come in and drop out straight away. At the same point, you kind of need characters to be around at least for a bit to, to have, so they have some impact on the story and on the audience as well. So I think where characters come in for an episode or two and then drop out, I think as long as they can make that connection with the audience and the plot, then great. But I suppose it's one of the things where they're just meeting people along the way. Sam and Henry, people that they met along the way. Bill, people, I mean, not in the show, but in the game, someone that they met along the way. And in this case, in the show with Kathleen. So I think it's whoever they introduce, I appreciate they're going to have to off at some point or another based on what we know.
But they don't if they just agreed that they weren't going to stick all completely to the source material.
What do you mean, sorry?
Because season 1 was part 1, and they're now saying season 2 is going to be part 2. This thing is making so much money. Why would they not write the in-between stages? 1.5.
Oh, yeah.
And that's 5 seasons. If they did that and span 1.5 out across 5 seasons, and then when it starts taking a dip, which it will, then go, season 6 is going to be part 2. Everyone's going to be like, oh my fucking God!
Oh my God!
They get all excited. But then if they do the bit where they're going to do like a filler of a couple of seasons, because, right, spoiler alert, there's a time jump between season 1 and season 2.
What?
Right, get over it. I'm bored of it now.
No!
So they've got space to fill. And if they were going to do that, then that would make up for all of these side characters, and they could beef up more stories. Like Kathleen could have still been alive, she could have been a predominant character. Same with David. David could have gone, or his camp. But they're just not doing it. And then, so if they're not doing that, what's the fucking point?
Well, I'm thinking
completely and kill the bunny rabbit.
These characters are for this season. It's one of those things where, like, for different seasons, different characters are going to be relevant, aren't they? You don't have to drag characters across seasons to keep them relevant, because otherwise, no one dies and the status quo doesn't change.
If it helps, sorry to cut you short, but if it helps, even if they did do the 1.5 across 5 seasons, they still wouldn't with me, because then they'd do a whole backstory in Kathleen, and I'll be pissed off about that because I don't see Joel.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it's a possible task. I will never be pleased, but it's our podcast and everyone can fuck off. So these are my opinions. I know they're wrong. I'm the one that has to live with it. Grow up.
I feel like with a season 1 of anything, whether it's source material or not, you want to try and introduce as many characters, old and new, as possible. If it does blow up, you can then, like Drew said, create season 2, Kathleen Revenge. Season 3, David comes back. And you can just push out as many characters as you can. Keep them as cliffhanger deaths, have them killed off screen, but actually they survived, and here's a story about how they did this. So then you have a array of characters you can bring back and be like, oh, remember this guy? Actually, he's still alive and he's out for revenge. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. But it's just, here's a new character. They have the potential to be a badass. Dead.
Do you know what's even worse? Like, we didn't get that impression when we played the game, but it was there, but I didn't really notice it or pick up on it. But season 2 is even worse.
It's super worse.
Even worse.
Super worse. This TV show is making me rethink what I think about 1 and 2. I can't believe this.
In part 2, there is a character that literally has pretty much no lines, and dies before you even meet him.
You can't bring the dog
the-
into this. You can't bring the dog.
And he's the biggest baddie in the thing, and you spend the whole time fearing
Oh
him.
yeah, that's
He just
yeah,
dies.
that's. I mean, yeah. Part 2, there's a lot of and then someone got shot, and we're going this way now for no reason. And
you forget you saw
you know,
that.
But yeah, no, to be fair, like this in the game, you get so much more time in the seat as Joel to experience the build up to these characters, but they are constrained by the time limits with the TV show. So I definitely see where you come from. I'm definitely on maybe on a different side of the fence here, where I'm okay with them introducing and knocking away characters, because ultimately they're on their journey. These are pit stops, just like they are in a game. They encounter something, encounter a new situation, face it, and move on. And then that moves their relationship on. They get closer, they travel, they move on, they hit another place, something else happens, more trauma happens, and then they trauma bond from there.
Nice.
So I think it's just, for me personally, I feel like they still need to find a good middle ground. But I do agree that with season 2, hopefully they're going to give more flexibility as to who they give runtime to, and they can make sure they don't hype people up for certain characters, and then take it from there. But yeah,
They need to find good middle ground. You said, did you? They need to find good middle ground. Direct quote. Yeah. Well, they need to hurry up, don't they? They've got one bloody episode left.
Yeah, the pacing is just so strange and odd to me. I thought they'd want to spend more time with David and his crew, so we can learn more about them. But no, we got an hour and 10 minutes of 2 dead people. It's just really confuses. Maybe I'm missing something.
No,
I must be at this point.
I do agree. They probably could have stretched this out into 2 episodes.
Absolutely.
And or at least 1.5 episodes. And where they did the thing with Jackson and they were just traveling across the wilderness, visiting like a random person's hut, things like that. I'm just like, well, if it means that you have an 8-minute university like scene and a 1 episode scene on David, and you've got like a 20-minute in a hut with some randomer who made you soup, or it's funny and nice, but do we need it? Can you cut that out?
Do we need the DLC episode? I agree. No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
No, I do. Like what Matt said at the beginning. Looking at this episode as its own thing, I enjoyed it, but I do agree that they could have fleshed it out more here, because I just think it was so rich in the characters and what they were building and what they're trying to do there. But hey.
Imagine being killed by Sleepy Joel. Like, imagine being done in by a guy who's clearly overdosing on penicillin. And he's the guy. You've survived 20 years of this hellhole of apparently clickers. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen one in a while. And this guy who's fucking high off his nuts lands on you and cuddles you to death. I mean, not a bad way to go if it's Pedro, but
I know you're going to tell us your theory about the next episode, Matt. I'm going to cut in short here. Do you think they're just going to get Ellie to the Fireflies and they'll be like, yeah, we've already cured it, and they'll be like, what the fuck do you mean? You go, well, have you seen any clickers for the last 8 episodes? Like, we solved
I just think you've been walking around without the infected for 4 episodes.
We put this in the air. We put this in the snow. You've been walking around this infection. You guys got bit loads. You just never realised it. We've cured everyone.
Yeah, we nailed this. We nailed this. What have you been walking the wilderness for fucking ages, dickhead?
Yeah.
I didn't read the book.
Actually, the clickers are like quite intelligent. They're actually like the superior species. Like they're actually cool guys.
Yeah, we've negotiated.
Yeah.
One of them said parlay.
Yeah, one of them said no mention of parlay, and now we've got her. Yeah. You better love post-apocalyptic dystopias. You're in one. It's great.
Right, should we do a run through? Because I was shouting at Nathan for not providing pictures, and he has done very well providing pictures. So we should go through them.
His pictures. Like I said, this is a bit like a one-page run-through.
Yeah, I pretty much said it on my page.
Yeah, we get introduced to David and his guys. Religious, not very religious in the video games. I thought this was a nice change to it all.
America.
You don't hear enough about cultist religions, do you? No. So
I think
go on.
It can be used I do like that they've added religion in, because it can be used as like a tool to keep people under control. Like, follow these rules, and then you can just throw God in when you want him to. Well, I know, jumping.
The big
I know,
God.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I'm just.
Controversial.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that all religions.
You
are. I'm just
mean-
saying that certain people can abuse it
Wait,
in a way
Nathan,
that's
I
not
haven't
healthy.
got my clip ready.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
So
you trying to tell me that some groups of people use religion as a weapon?
yeah.
Get the fuck
Oh.
out of here!
But yeah, no, like definitely in this episode, the way that David he seemed to be using that as an additional way to keep everyone under control. And he was talking about, what God wants and everything like that. But when he got questioned later on in the episode about God's will, he was like, I know I was saying that before, but I'm in charge still. I know I said God and all that, but it's actually me. I hope you weren't getting our wires crossed earlier. What I say goes. I'll see
And
you tomorrow.
on the sixth day, God said, "Let there be 14-year-old girls for everyone."
Oh God!
Oh, David was so groomy. Oh, like he was so groomy to the point that I think if I was in Ellie's position, I think Ellie played this a lot smarter than I would have, because he was making points, and if I was in that cage, I'd be like, yeah, no, there's some good points. Yeah, he's making sense. He's a logical guy. And then he touches my hand, and I'm like,
I don't know.
Well, no, I'll bring it up when we get to it because I'm being better. Continue.
So David is delivering a kind of speech, and kind of they're mourning the passing of one of the group's fathers. And I've brought this up a couple of times, but sitting in a room of people who have never played the game or picked up a few things on the game, and you're sitting in the room and you know what David's group's about, and you're sitting there just like, the girl goes, I want to bury my father, and it's like, yeah, we'll totally wait till the spring when the ground's softer. Yeah, and then we'll bury him. We know what they're doing with that body. That ain't no venison they're eating in that stew. We know what's going on there.
This is the guy that Joel killed, isn't it? That's her father.
Yes, this is the guys that Joel and Ellie killed when they got attacked at the university. Yeah, the one who got stabbed in the tummy. Well, who we're currently looking at is Troy Baker. We'll come over to him in a second.
yeah, like David was saying as well, the ground was too cold to dig. So, I mean, to be fair, how would you bury them? Because the ground would be frozen solid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'd
like
burn
a
'em.
Viking.
Yeah.
Like a Viking funeral, because he was on the coast, wasn't it, of some lake somewhere.
That's you guys. I mean, personally, I'd eat them. So.
Well, I mean, why waste it?
Jesus, that took no time at all to convince you, did it? Now, you really are easy to convince. I mean, you weren't even in a cage at that point. You're like, oh no, people though.
Any society is 3 meals away from cannibalism. Okay, let's not pretend otherwise.
I'd just be in a room and they would hand us all our food, our chow with all this meat in it, and they'd be like, yeah, by the way, that's human parts. And I'd just be looking around. As soon as like 5 or more people started eating it, I'd be like, yeah, that seems good to me.
That's very Moorish.
Let's ask questions later.
I thought it was quite nice to see that as well, as they kind of served up dinner, and it was like these big, lovely cubes of meat, and like the inner circle of David, who kind of knew what was going on. They were a bit reluctant to eat their meal, but all the other people there were just like absolutely going ham into this stew. It's like, oh God.
Why did David get godly portions?
Because he's the leader.
Oh, because he's
the
man.
Yeah, but like, come on, you shouldn't have godly portions if you're a leader. You should be dishing them out to the masses.
Nah, not David, mate.
Especially if you're a man of God.
Yeah, but this just kind of helps set the fact that something's not quite right with David.
Yeah, give a man a fish, feed for a day.
Why do some TV preachers in the US have jumbo jets? It's because they're the ones who take it.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah,
you can go straight down a fucking rabbit hole with that one.
I'm just saying, just for the few that abuse it, But yeah, no, he's definitely taken his share. But yeah, no, introduced to Troy Baker.
Yeah,
he's the guy who did Joel's voice in the games
and the mocap.
And the mocap as well. And his normal voice and his Joel voice are really different. Like he doesn't sound anything like Joel in this.
Easy paycheck.
So, testament to him as a voice actor. He's got a very kind of gravelly, deep Texas voice when he's doing Joel. And he's not like that in the show, but yeah, no, he was good. He played character well, I thought.
I wanted him to do his Joel voice so I could do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I was very upset. And yes, that is in my notes.
Oh my god.
Sorry, continue, Nathan.
But yeah, no, I just thought he was very convincing. Like he played the part of like someone who was going along with it, but having a kind of existential
doubt.
crisis at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah, having a bit of doubt. David picked up on it. You know, David was very perceptive, and he kind of, yeah, he kept him on a leash, and at arm's length at the same time. So, yeah, it was
Why?
creepy in this episode. God.
Yeah.
So, sorry, going off piece ever so slightly, but still at the same time, stand where we are in the episode. Where are we on the map of America right now in the story, roughly? Salt Lake City, didn't they say? So that's Utah, Colorado.
Salt Lake City is where the hospital is.
When
the university, it's the University of Eastern Colorado.
Right, so in Colorado. Okay.
So I think we're around Colorado somewhere, yeah.
So, is Colorado a southern state? Basically, my argument is, why has everyone got southern accents?
Because they're bad actors. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, it depends where people migrate from, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's a bit convenient, isn't it? You know, Joel never walks into sort of New York and goes, "Hey, I'm working here.
Hey, I'm surviving here."
Or something like, Californian. Oh my God, where is it? Why are we all southern? I appreciate. I prefer the southern accent. I like it, but
you don't kill a southern man. You do
no,
not kill a southern man.
I think it's like mid, isn't it? Midway up, Colorado.
The episode,
it's midway up.
It's not southern. It's not northern. It's just mid. But
just saying,
yeah.
where's the?
I don't know.
Don't know, mate.
I don't know.
Walking here.
Why didn't they fish for food? I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at this picture right now. Why didn't
I
they
was genuinely thinking about that.
fish?
Like when they're around the table, thinking like, right, we got no food left. We're gonna have to eat people. Why was no one like, should we just check the pond?
Yeah, shall we check that massive lake next
Should we go
to
for a
us?
fish? Yeah, go fishing. And you can do ice fishing. It doesn't. The winter doesn't stop you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, Nathan. Absolutely. And there's loads of fucking deer running around. Don't know if you've seen. Loads of good eating on a deer.
yeah, you can go around finding deers in about 5 minutes. I'm sure they.
I'm glad you brought it up, Nathan. I'm glad you brought it up. Why didn't they do the bunny scene? Thank you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, why didn't they? Ellie's gone hunting. I know she doesn't have a bow in this, and I was quite looking forward to a bit of bow work, but nope, no rabbit scene. I'm quite upset with that. Yeah,
it would have been so glorious because let's forget about the streamer who's been clipped having the reaction, which is I love the video. It's hilarious.
Yep.
But even when I played the game, I went through that exact same emotion. Like, oh, look, cute bunny. I was like, oh shit, she's got both of them there.
Damn!
I was like, yes. And I know she hasn't got a bow and arrow, but we could have just seen a nice little pretty bunny rabbit and then just have its head blown off. I would have been over the moon.
Well, like Monty Python style, just at the head.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do it. I did see when this all came out, everyone was like tweeting Druckmann and Craig, and I was like, oh, we need the bunny seed, we need the bunny seed. And I was like, y'all are sick. I was like, yes, but give us what we want.
Yeah.
I reckon they saw that. I was like, they want the bunny seed. Fuck, we didn't include it. I reckon they kicked themselves because I thought
Yeah,
they was going to get vegans onto them or something.
Mm-hmm.
It invokes a reaction, and the thing is, though, it's perfectly defensible. Like that's what someone would do in that situation. You know, they need to hunt for food. You know, like it's not. You know, beets growing weather. They need to go get the bunnies. But the deer and the horse got wrecked in this episode, so it's a shame that they didn't.
Clop.
Wreck the bunny. Oh, Cloppers.
Cloppers McGee, not fat as Tony. Oh, God.
He popped his clops.
Oh, eat the horse.
Yeah. But
I've already eaten horse. I didn't know about it. I've basically been David at this point.
But yeah, no, she took down the deer instead, and we still had, same as in the game, Ellie was after the deer, shot the deer with a bow, but a gun in the show, and the deer stumbled off, leading a trail to where David and James were. But yeah, this is where this introduction to David I thought was really good. Like from the get-go, he's kind of calm, he's rational, he's, you think I suppose you could think that he's a genuine person, and especially when they were sitting down in the hut, when they dragged a deer in there, you could tell Ellie was becoming more relaxed because she was starting to kind of smile and make a bit of a joke. And David was very kind of disarming and very kind of like honest and open, and he's not trying to hide anything, putting you at ease. And then he kind of turns around and tells her, well, it's weird that our guys have the person that's died in our crew, was killed by a man and a young girl, and then just the tone changes immediately. You go from kind of like a relaxed feeling to that kind of like shiver in the back of your neck, hair standing on end. I thought that was really good.
See, I thought this was really good, but I think the game bit is better, and I tell you for why. So in the game, James goes off, pisses off to get the medicine, and he goes, let's go in the hut, make some fire. And she's like, yeah, bring the deer. Cool, no worries. And then in the game, we get clickers come in and we have to fight the clickers.
What?
And what happens is David pulls a gun from his ankle and you're like, oh, motherfucker had a gun on him the entire time. He could have killed Eddie. If he was a horrible man, he could have killed Eddie. Maybe we can trust this person. And you fight off the clickers and then you think like, oh, this guy's cool, it's no worries. And then he goes into the whole story about, Joel killed our mate. He had a girl with him. And I think that would have been, why leave that out of the show? I think that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I suppose that's the argument for making a longer version of the David, kind of, rather than David being an episode, make it 2 episodes, because in the game, when you're playing it the first time round, you went from, oh, okay, maybe this is a genuine guy, maybe it's someone who helps us out, to the opposite. So you build that trust, and then that trust is taken away, and things
as soon as he pulls a gun, I think, oh yeah, we can trust this guy. This guy's cool. Yeah, we're gonna save Joe. Woo! And then he goes, yeah, and he was killed by a guy, and a little girl with me like, oh no, that's me.
Yeah,
and he knows shit's up.
Yeah, so we get the good. I suppose like you do get about 4 minutes of oh, this could be a good guy, David.
Yeah,
and then bam.
It's an emotional roller coaster, Nathan. It's an emotional roller coaster.
But there wasn't really much of an up to go down here. It was like up, down. Where no, I agree. They could have made it longer and
put clickers in, because clickers would have been cool. But
no, that's I could trust. It was, no. To be fair, I was thinking about like the infected. My initial thinking here with the infected not needing to be in the episode is that I didn't think that the episode really brought much to this episode. Like, if they are working under time constraints, what value did the infected actually give? But I suppose in the game, the infected, as you said, were used to build trust between Ellie and David before, because I suppose that kind of helps answer the question of, well, why would Ellie kind of end up, working with David or being relaxed around David, is because, that him having the gun on him, he trusted, Ellie feels safer and kind of lulls him into that full sense of security. And you could do that with the audience, but I suppose that was a bit rushed otherwise.
More clickers.
More clickers.
But why would the clickers be there? They're out in the woods. Safest place ever.
That's what I heard. And it's cold.
To be fair, I think that like it would be an area where the infected would struggle to be around, though, right? Because the ground's solid, so I don't know how that underground cordyceps network would fare.
This would have been really cool to like learn, discover in an episode. Do you not think? That would have been really cool to like kind of discuss and kind of learn a bit more about how does this what's it, sporeless infection work? The tendrils, are they just running throughout the entire ground? How does it work in the snow? But no, we got a DLC episode last week. So that's cool. That's cool. We didn't learn anything really from that. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
To be fair, like the thing that concerns me is that in part 2 of the game, they focus on the like it's almost like the infection doesn't even matter at all to the whole plot.
Like Drew said, it's cured.
So like
it's cured.
Yeah, like the infection doesn't matter. There's no exploring it at all. If anything, the infected are just a side story to what's going on, like the drama and all that. And they do explore it more in the first one, but if they drop it in the game, they're definitely gonna in the show. Yeah, if you're looking for more explanation as to what the fungus does, how it works, I think that ship has probably sailed. I think.
I'd just love to see zombies and infected, and just see a big joint, big baddie that the humanity and human race kind of fight against and join together and go past their differences. Drew mentioned it earlier that The Walking Dead, even though, yes, it did get bad as the seasons went on. I don't know if you want to continue what I'm going to say, Drew. I don't want to steal your line.
No, go for it.
That The Walking Dead, yes, as the seasons went on, yeah, it got a little bit bad. A lot of people dropped off. A couple of people, Drew included, and my mum included, stuck through. But the constant thing they had throughout all of The Walking Dead was zombies. There was always zombies, whether they were in the background, whether it was just at the start of an episode, the end of an episode, maybe they might have bit one person in the episode, whatever. They always had infections. They always had the zombies. Yes, they started to focus more on the human side of things and people's feelings and relationships. Do you know what I did when they started doing that? I stopped watching it. I was bored. I've seen it and watched it and read it and just taken in everyone's opinions on like, oh, I'm really sad that my friend's a zombie. I'm bored. Show me the zombie. Show me the zombie. Show me the zombie eating your friend. I want to see the action. I think I'm very alone in this camp by myself. I'd like an action sequence to really get me, tell me a story through action sequences, which is why I think the game did such a good job with me. It was, I'm fighting clickers in whatever instance I was in, but I'm learning so much between these characters while I'm fighting, and you're telling a story not just through the cutscenes, which I think, like Drew said, last an hour and a half tops, but you're successfully telling me a story in gameplay while shit's hitting the fan, and that's just how they get me. As if you want to,
Hey, bonding, isn't it?
yeah, they're trauma bonding
in trauma.
Yeah,
yeah.
They're bonding over a fight. And to go back to David and Ellie here, I thought this whole episode was missing. It's oh hi, my name's David. Oh, I'm Ellie. You're a bad guy. Yeah, but I might not be. Oh yeah, okay, no, that's fair. You're probably not. No, but I actually am. Oh yeah, I knew that the whole time. Yeah. It just again, to go back to my first reiteration, it's just so fast. Take time with it, but like you said, Nathan, if we had more time with it, we're not sure about the time constraints. I just maybe I'm expecting too much, but I just want
Maybe
more.
they just didn't expect it. Maybe they didn't expect it to blow up as much as it did. But the severe lack of infected floating around is quite evident that Neil Druckmann has quite literally forgotten his roots. Because it's just ridiculous. I can't cope with it.
But like I do, yeah. I mean, I think out of all the episodes to not have infected in, I think this is the most personally. I think this is the most acceptable one to not have the infected in. Even though the point that you made was a good thing against it.
Like, just drop a line, a single line of, oh yeah, we don't get infected up here. It's too cold for the tendrils. That's it. I'll be happy then.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't seen an infected in the last 2 episodes. It's too cold.
Address it.
Yeah, for the zombies. But they just go, what the fuck's a clicker? And that's it. They start eating people. It's just. Oh.
Do you like to hear me? What caused me more offence? It made me more angry than it should have.
Go on. Oh no, yeah, go on.
I was listening to the radio the other day, and there was a radio advert for The Last of Us, and it started off with the noise of the clicker in the background, and it just opened up with "Beware of the clickers." I was like, "Don't be." They're not there. They're not there. I was like, "But you don't advertise the show for the clickers when they've been in 2 episodes."
It's like that.
Ridiculous.
It's like beware of the dog meme, and then you got a like beware of the dog sign, and then you look over the fence, it's just like a chihuahua in a sombrero on a deck chair.
If you don't want to be known, if you don't want to be known as a zombie show, and you ban the word zombie, and you can't, and you're getting away from the infected, don't advertise the fucking show promoting clickers.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
they don't have the best track record with advertisements, do they? And with part 2, where they literally changed characters to get people to buy the game.
But it just winds me up. Oh, it's good enough to advertise and get people in, but then you don't address the clickers at all. I had to take a moment. I was like, this is bothering me.
I am so angry right now.
It affected me far more than it should have.
Just a side note there. Let's just hope Last of Us multiplayer actually hasn't infected in, because
I don't know.
Otherwise there'll be nothing to do. There'll be nothing to do.
I don't know. I don't think it will. Moving on.
I'm losing a lot of faith in the whole franchise.
Honestly, yeah. I just want to curl up and play number 1, just to have just number 1 played. I just want to play number 1.
I took a long weekend off work to play number 2 and smashed it out, and it was the only game I was looking forward to in ages. And one of the best things is I stumbled across Last of Us. I only played Last of Us because between jobs, And I was like, oh, this game's pretty cool. I think I was supposed to manage. Like, yeah, it's getting a lot of good hype. I don't know if you'd played it yet, Matt, or if you had and you got me into it, but it was like, yeah, it's getting a little hype. I'll give it a go. And that was it. I was hooked. So I stumbled on it 'cause I didn't even play games that much back then.
He was cooler than this.
Radio ads didn't trigger me back then.
You changed, man. And I was not as cool as I am right now. Moving on. We have
I've got
then.
memes to prove it.
You does have the memes. I've also got memes to prove it as well. James comes back with the medicine, but also points a gun on Ellie. But then David diffuses the situation, gives the medicine to Ellie. Ellie then hightails it back to Joel, and here we learn about where to put penicillin on someone who's injured. I thought you'd put it in a vein.
Oh yeah, I've got no idea. I'd be in Ellie's shoes there. I'd be like, what?
I'm afraid I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if it was like a tetanus shot in the butt cheek.
Yeah.
But I sure as shit wouldn't have put it directly
on the cut. And it looked like she gave him a lot as well. Like a lot. I was like, you can stop now, Ellie. Ellie, you can stop. That's like 2 weeks worth, Ellie.
Was it like a horse? It looked like a horse syringe, like to inject like farm animals. But to be fair, about the trust thing, I suppose him telling he does still. David does still spend the episode trying to gain Ellie's trust throughout. So in terms of like telling them like his goons to not.
He's a dirty dog, Nathan.
Oh yeah, but he still does have some of that kind of trust gaining thing over the thing. So we didn't have the gun, but you know, his James points a gun on her, wants to kill her, and he's like, no, you know, settle down. Let me try it on her later.
Oh God, let me put it on her later. Let me
put it on her later. Yeah.
I want to have something to look at. Shoot in the leg. Not sure anywhere else. That's something to look at.
But yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, no, I'd have not. To be fair, when Ellie was syringing him in the stab, I was like, yeah, in the stab sounds like a good place to do it. That's where the pain is. So you put the heel in the pain. Is that medicine?
You put the heel in the pain.
You put the heel in the pain. Yeah. So I would not. Otherwise, what? Like you put it in his jugular, and then.
Is that what Fedra taught her as a big poster?
Yeah.
When in doubt, put the heel in the pain.
Put the heel in the pain, and like that's like if you're injecting stuff, like if you get a vaccine or something like that, then it just goes in the arm, doesn't it? So I'm guessing it doesn't go like up a vein, does it? So I'm guessing you just poke them with it. I don't know.
Would you guys know how to stitch people up?
Definitely not. I couldn't do it. I couldn't let this person watch me stitch them up. I could be like, Joel, look away. Like, I'm gonna have to punch you out or something because I cannot have you
I could let someone stitch me up. I mean, I'd give it a go now if anyone wants to give it a go. I think make a YouTube clip, give it a go, be a laugh.
I wouldn't know what to stitch to use.
I don't like. I think in that situation, I think like you. I mean, I'm glad she got the anti-infection stuff because like she just grabbed something from the kitchen.
I think
just
she
like
gave it a good old
bit
spit shine before putting it in.
Yeah, and that's infection city. So
anti-infection stuff.
Yeah,
and penicillin. Penicillin.
I'm gonna prescribe you 2 doses of anti-infection stuff, and
put that heel in the pain, and you'll be good. Right,
heel in the pain.
Dosage. Put 2 anti-infection stuff. Put 1 dose in the heel in the pain, not on an empty stomach.
How much do I put in until nothing more goes in? When the body is full of penicillin, you stop.
Your body is full of penicillin. You are healed. I have healed you.
When the body feels like a water balloon, that's when you. That's
when it goes in. So the David guys, they then go back to camp, don't they? And they have a nice nutritious meal. They take the deer back, don't they?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, what's on the menu today? And it's like, veal. Totally veal. And then they bring the deer in. I'm like, oh, they eating people. He munching on people. Look nice though, I will say.
And later on, you have the after they eat the meal, and what you said, Matt, about like, I mean, David's like, this tastes great, but the others are
a bit grimace, a bit like, a
bit tentative, especially those who know, because he was mentioning only a few actually know, and then some people might have suspicions.
They're just chowing down.
it looked good. I mean, you're in a post-apocalyptic world. Can you really,
I was
give 'em-
hungry. I was hungry
Can
after
you really
watching
be
that.
too picky? Yeah, it looked like goulash. It was nice. But yeah, and then they go out. Yeah, they go out and
Yeah, these
find.
guys head out and they're ready to put the pain in the hill now. They're hunting down. They want to get her.
Just before this, though, they did say David is there in the restaurant with everyone,
Yeah.
and he's like, "We're going to go out and get the guy who killed the girl's dad." So they're all kind of sitting there patiently looking, and then you don't realize, I didn't realize how much control David had over the people until he walked up to that girl and slapped
Fucking
her
one banged her. Yeah.
Yeah.
for saying that the people who killed her dad should be killed. And I was like, well, thought someone was going to intervene there, but they all just all like,
You don't know how good you've got it, young lady. It could be
You
a
don't know how-
hell of a lot worse under David's reign. Like, oh God.
but yeah, like he was definitely like, and so she says, "Oh, kill the person who killed my dad," and then he goes over there, he slaps her, he's like,
All right, Abby.
he was like, "Was I speaking though? Was I speaking though?"
Yeah.
And then he gave her like the whole like, show your dad some respect, basically saying, "I'm your dad now."
I'm your dad.
And I was
I'm your
like,
daddy, boy.
Jesus Christ.
Who's a daddy?
I was like, yeah. So like, no one even stands up to him. Like, if people try to give any sort of throughout the episode, they try and give criticism, or he just bats it away, and his word is a rule of law there. So yeah, you just realize at that point how much sway he has. He's obviously earned favors enough that he can get away with that.
Hitting the
Be
shot.
honest, if you're going to run a group, that is a solid approach.
I mean, if you want to secure your position at the top, I mean, you got to
Yeah.
be vicious, right?
Oh God, Drew's taking notes. Oh no. Oh no.
Hi, my name's Drew. My name's Drewvid.
Drew.
Druvid.
Druvid.
Nice.
Definitely not. Definitely not what we want to be associated to. Horse gets got. Horse gets got. Poor horse.
Mhm.
Yep.
The horse gets stopped.
Horse gets got. They grab Ellie. He's very happy with himself at this point. They grab her. And on their way back, he kind of orders his goons to kind of, I'm guessing, look around for Joel.
Yeah,
In
because they're
comes
Yeah,
Sleepy
so
Joel.
they're like if you want a vengeance, get it now.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
yeah,
Was it
like
vengeance or revenge? Whatever.
Revengeance.
Oh, get. Oh, all right. Fuck it.
Yeah, all of it.
Combining two words.
Revengeance. So Sleepy Joel takes out guys one at a time by laying
I was
down
a big
on
fan
them.
of this.
I was a big fan of this.
This
Yeah,
was
like-
Flame Joel coming through, and I liked it.
yeah, no, like this was in the
This
in the
scene-
game. I'm
this
so glad
scene
they
right
had
here.
the scene with the map and the two guys.
Yep.
I was so happy that they did that. When I was taking photos, I had to be careful what I was taking photos of, so Matt doesn't get taken down from YouTube.
Oh, I'll be taken
Um,
down for a lot worse. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh, but I was really hoping they'd have this scene because, yes, like Savage Joel, he's not just some I'm so weak and sleepy. As we had a few.
I am
he's
powered
obviously
by
not-
penicillin.
he's obviously not weak and sleepy if he's pulling shit like this. But yeah,
This is what happens when you inject penicillin in the heel and the bad.
And,
So
oh,
you get
the-
supercharged.
the one trick doctors don't want you to know.
Yeah.
Number 5
Yeah.
will shock you.
but he went, yeah, like I don't have time for this. Literally, he was like, I don't know where he is, and he's like, right, stage 2, bam,
Right,
knife
kneecap.
in the knee,
Oh God.
in a twist, and the whole like, it's so effective because he did that with the
Classic
the
Joel.
people in the hut, the
Classic
couple in the
Joel,
hut, where he
yeah.
was like, you better point on the same area of the map, and that's a really solid move.
Mm.
Get
But
two
what
people to point to the same area, and
What did they say? Because obviously so the first guy pointed on the map and then he killed him, and the second guy said something to him. And he was like, "Well, I don't need him no more."
Fuck you, man! I'm
well,
not telling you
yeah, yeah.
anything. And he goes, "It's
Yeah.
all right. I believe him anyway." Donk
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a pole. I
Bunch of
thought when he
fucking
killed the
legends.
first guy, Sleepy Joel just fell over standing up and accidentally stabbed him. It's all right, man. I'll be back with you. I was like, oh shit! Look, maintain eye contact with the other dude. I meant to do that. Right, next up. I thought he just fell over.
That I believed him anyway line was, oh yeah, that got
Yeah.
me
that was from
wet.
that was one of my
Oh,
favorite lines from the
fuck's
that was one of the
sake,
favorite lines from the
Drew.
game.
Good line from the game, and it was nice to see my mum look over to me and be like, "What's happened to Joel? Why is he so
Yeah. He's
angry
turned
and
up.
mean?"
He's turned
It's
up.
like-
That's what's happened.
I was like, "My
This is-
goodness, my lord, he has turned up finally."
No, but that's the thing. That's what I was saying earlier on. He doesn't have his savage edge. If people like who haven't played the game are watching this scene and being like, "Oh, he's a bit savage," you shouldn't be realizing it. I mean, obviously because of the show they are, but in the game he's savage from step one.
They
So
do.
I just thought that they definitely made a softer Joel, and this is true Joel here that we're seeing.
I said this to Kat. She was like, I was like, in the game when you first meet like Joel and like he gets introduced to Ellie, like you don't actually like Joel because he's just being like like
Bit of an arsehole.
weirdly dickish to Ellie. You think like, all
Yeah,
right, mate,
yeah.
like calm down. Like she's a 14-year-old girl, mate. She shook.
We've all lost stuff. We've all
Yeah.
lost things.
Exactly.
Like,
Just chill out a little bit, and then it progresses, and then he's just a fucking savage. And this is the first time we really saw that. I don't think big bad baby girl, and but no, I really like that. I like that line.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Joel.
just-
Yeah, go on, Nave.
I'll say, I'm just like I wish we saw a bit more of a savage edge of Joel throughout,
Mhm.
rather than just
I
seeing
think
it now.
there's still time, but it will never be enough for me. It will never be.
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
So Ellie's in a cage. She's locked up. They won't let her out. And David continues to kind of pull the moves on Ellie at this point. And she spots an ear. Spots an ear underneath the table. And
Again,
yeah, go on.
sorry,
No, go
sorry
on.
to
Yeah,
cut you
do it. No, do it.
why in the game she wakes up and they're chopping bodies up on the table? Why have they not included this? Why have they like what's the word? Leveled it down to
Toned it?
just an
They've
ear. Toned it down.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Toned it down. Like
Yeah,
for fuck's sake. Why not have the whole body on there? We can do this. You're an 18+ show. Fucking get it in there.
I mean, like, I've got a note here, which is Ellie's talking mad shit for someone in mincing distance. I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like,
Without a t-shirt, by the way. That's a
You're
t-shirt.
talking mad shit for someone in mincing distance.
like she was like, I just thought like it's the same in the game when I was playing it through. I was like, your self-preservation instincts really aren't that much.
Yeah.
Like you're in a cage with someone who's being like, I can let you go. You know, not that she has to go through with anything, but at least get out of the cage, you know? And then but she like David was offering her, like, oh look, I can let Joel go. I can, you know, and to be fair, David oh yeah, no, he was a bit manipulative and lying, never mind.
No,
But yeah, no, I
Nathan.
just-
David
Yeah.
lying. No.
See, he
Hey,
got to me. He got
what
to me when I was
Nathan-
watching, I believe it.
What Nathan's saying is if Nathan was in that position, he would have given it up
Yep.
there and then.
Oh yeah. He's giving it up before he's even in the cage. He's
He
like-
was backing up to the cage fence. Go on, let us out.
I'm hungry for goulash. Come on, boys.
Look tasty.
I was just like, it's tense because it's a very risky move to do that when you know that they've probably got to Joel. Joel's in no position to defend himself, or she didn't think that. And you know they eat people, and he's saying, you know, join me, and then she's like biting his hand. So yeah, I respect it.
How long
but,
was she in the cage for?
Get out the cage first. You know what I mean?
How long was she in
But-
there for? 45 minutes?
I would have thought a few hours.
I'd like to say a few hours. I'd even like to say be in that cage for a couple of days before you start considering like maybe you've got a point. I know she's doing it as a bit like just to get close enough to break fingers and bite and get the keys and stuff, but just very quick thinking and just speeding through it again. I thought there was some very quick potential Stockholm syndrome happening right in front of me. I was like, this is working for the world record, world's best of Stockholm syndrome, falling in love with your captor. And yeah, it was all a ploy, but I just wanted a bit more time for Ellie to be like, oh fuck, now I'm stuck here. Now I've got to figure a way out. But I was like, oh no, I'm stuck here. That's an ear. That's a bad man. I better bring him close, break his fingers, make him bite him, say that I'm infected. And it's lots of very quick thinking that maybe I'm just not capable of. Maybe I'm the issue. I'm the problem.
Well,
I thought it was a smart move that she
Mm.
said it was she was infected. I thought at first she was saying she was infected because like her meat, like you can't eat me, dickhead.
Yeah, that
I'm
too.
infected.
like-
Yeah.
But it was no, because I didn't even clock she bit David at first. I was like, obviously, well, I think in the game I didn't clock she bit him or something like that. But
Yeah,
I was like, smart move that you can't eat me because I'm infected. And then oh fucking David, and then James got shook.
He
Shook
did.
Brer.
yeah, he got. Yeah, I don't have a picture of that, I'm afraid, but he did
That's
get
okay.
shanked.
No, meat,
In the
meat
neck.
cleaver. Oof.
In it with a meat cleaver. Yeah, no, he got wrecked. David dropped the C bomb as well.
That's why it's an
Yeah, he
18,
did.
guys. That's what
Yeah.
clicker. Nah.
He was like clicker.
Clicker.
You can drop the
We don't
C-bomb.
say that here.
Drop the C bomb, but you can't have a dead body on a table being chopped up.
Good day, sir. No, you cannot.
Fuck no.
But then again, where would Ellie have gone when he got out of that cage?
Game of Thrones can have people's eyes being popped out through their skulls, but we can't have a dead body on the table. Oh no.
Ooh,
Both
no.
HBO. Yeah.
Disgusting.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. The stuff we saw in Game of Thrones. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What I mean,
I just watched
Yeah.
Pedro's head get crushed in Game of Thrones.
yeah.
When the so going to that picture, they
Tend to your
Ellie
fires.
escapes.
Like,
Ellie
come on, man.
escapes into Ellie escapes into the restaurant, and the restaurant's set on fire. Like in the game, there's a blizzard going on. This is the whole like ski resort town. There's a blizzard going on as Joel is wiping out all of the capable members of the crew or sneaking past them, whatever you want to do. Given that it's a whole community here, no one came to the big burning restaurant, which is the centerpiece of their community. You know, no one really reacted to it. So yeah, and then they just walked away really slowly off into the distance, which I found a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's one of those things. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky.
This was a very emotional and powerful scene in the video game right now. It really felt like you were, at least when I played it, I felt like I was in Ellie's shoes. I have to take out this huge, towering over me, manipulative, rapist, cannibal, all the bad words under the sun. I have to deal with this guy, and you're like tiptoeing around, watching out for like glass and plates. And with this, it was kind of like Ellie hid away, cool, got that, ran away, got herself a good knife, and kind of waited it out, really. And it's still a powerful scene, but I just feel like the game handled it so much more. I felt so much more at stake. Pardon the pun,
like
in the restaurant.
The game was able to build that tension more because they explored that more. And I think even with the restaurant scene, like they touched upon it. Ellie was sneaking around. She was getting a knife. You know, David was pumping out all the lines, all like "You can't run, Ellie," and
You're the chosen one. I trusted you.
You're the chosen one.
You're my brother. Yeah, all of that.
And then he started like the manipulation, being like, you know what, I changed my mind. Actually, you know, I won't kill you. You still got a chance. You know, so how about you join me? And all of those lines, that was good. I really liked that. But again, it was like how much tension can you build in like a minute? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all happens very quickly. I think back on it, you know, it does tend to hit more. And yes, they're constrained with time, but then we look back at other episodes, could have done more. So, but yeah, no, I did. I did touch upon. Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't go off the tracks on this one. They did keep it to the script for the most part. It's just that it perhaps could have been longer. But yeah, no, it was good. And as Joel was approaching as well, finally he's looking weathered.
Yeah.
Up until that point, he would look like super fresh. I don't know if you've seen that meme already of Nicolas Cage driving, and it just goes over to Pedro Pascal smiling in the car next to him. Like that's been him for like, even as he, like, after he got stabbed and, you know, was losing blood and taken to the thing, he was still kind of like, hey Pedro, just kind of like sitting there, fresh face. But it's only this episode where finally you start to see,
after he's had healing the pain.
Finally, he's had a rough day. You know, Jesus, he's lost a bit of the color out of his face. So he's kind of, yeah, you can see the bags under his eyes. You know, he looks like he's had a rough day. He looks like he's cold, for God's sake.
Yeah.
All the others, like David and James, they've all got kind of like peachy faces, and they're losing the color out of their face and stuff like that. So, because of the cold and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's yeah, we finally get a ragged Joel, but yeah, no, I did like it.
I don't think Ellie attacking David with the meat cleaver paid off the as well as it did in the video game. And again, I'm going back to the video game again, but it's only because we spent so much time with Ellie and David, and they built that relationship at the mill or whichever building it was, fighting the infected, and then we learn what David and their people's like and what David had in store for Ellie, and then playing as Ellie and seeing it in her shoes. I thought the payoff was so much more satisfying in the game, and when Joel turns up as Ellie's still kind of going at him with a machete in the game, and Joel comes in and drops that infamous line, the line that we've all waited for him to say, and he hasn't said since episode 1 when his own daughter got shot, and that was "baby girl." I was like, that is the line a lot of people were waiting for, and I nearly completely missed it. I nearly completely missed it. I was talking through it. I was just so I'd kind of finished the episode myself. I was done with it. And my mum had to be like, "You just missed the most important bit." I was like, "What bit?" It's like, "He just called her baby girl." I was like, "Oh, did he?" Because again, I haven't spent enough time with these two main characters for it to fully pay off to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like it's, I felt more invested in Bill and Frank's relationship. I felt, more invested in Henry and Sam's relationship. And then by the time that Joel and Ellie's, trauma bonding comes to a head, you're kind of like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right, we're good. Yep, cool.
Because Ellie's had like an attitude for the last 6 episodes where, it's, I don't know, it's yeah, I don't know. It doesn't come off as charismatic. It just comes off as kind of, a bit kind of like, not in tune with what's happening around you, kind of thing. It just feels a bit disconnected from what's happening.
Well put.
But yeah, no. So,
it's like you say, like that in the game. Joel steps in while she's killing David. And has to like drag her off
before
and
she
calm
goes
down.
like it goes a bit too far.
It's like, calm down, it's me, it's okay, baby girl, blah blah. But then that is when like Joel can see what she's been through.
Yeah, he looks her in the eyes. She's covered in blood.
At the moment in the TV show, she's come out of a burning building covered in blood, and he's like, "Did you try and cook again?"
Yeah.
You hurt yourself.
Like, you got into venison again, Jesus.
Yeah, but there's nothing there to. He has no understanding of the trauma she's gone through. In the game, he understands the trauma he's gone through because she's got a meat cleaver sticking out of his fucking nose.
Yeah. I remember that shot. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's pulling it. Yeah, she's still going at it.
He wanted to, and he's like, "Oh, it's okay, baby girl," and he just brings her into this embrace. It's just like, oh my god,
and that's
these two characters.
He will understand the trauma because, like you say, she said that he was trying to do this, he was trying to do that. He understands, he gets it. But at the moment, she's just walked out of a burning building with no one else around. She's got a couple of speckles of blood, maybe a bit more, a couple of speckles of blood, and come down a bit shaken up, and he's calmed her down. But he doesn't understand. He doesn't know who David is. He doesn't know who James is. He doesn't understand what that community is.
Mm-hmm. Very well put. Very well put.
He should have found her in a burning building.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, no, he should have gone ahead and done that. And again, it's just the kind of like, it's the building of the main actual characters and building the suspense and the that tie them together. I don't know, just felt it was a bit missing.
I think you hit the nail on the head ages ago, Nate, with the whole they gave 2 side characters more of a backstory than they did the main character, and I feel that really does set a trend for the entire series.
Absolutely, knocked it. Yeah, nail on the head. Absolutely, pain on the heel on the pain, Nathan. You smashed it.
But then I think maybe in the game, when you're playing the game and you're fighting the clickers and stuff like that, that's where the bonding comes in, where they're talking to each other.
Word, Drew, and I'm not quite, I'm not sure you know what it means. Yeah.
But then again, like I don't think the absence of us feeling that about Joel and Ellie means they can't do it, because they've done really good jobs with the other side characters in shorter spaces of time. So why couldn't they do that with Joel and Ellie over a longer space of time? And again, if you don't have much time with them as a duo, then you just don't feel as invested in what they're doing. Or me personally, I didn't. And again, I just didn't feel the tension. Also, I didn't feel the tension was there as much as it was in the games. Like at the start, Joel was genuinely a dick to Ellie. Genuinely was just like, he said it like that she was cargo, but you know, it doesn't. Yeah, it didn't feel that way because he was like laughing at her jokes and stuff like that. And yeah, and it's just I don't know.
I don't feel the bond between them two at the moment.
It missing some authenticity and
Yeah.
genuineness between them. And
And I don't think that's anything against the actor and the actresses and the people portraying these characters. I think it's very much down to the writing, what they've been given.
I think Bella was fucking amazing.
Absolutely.
This episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Insanely good. But yeah, for the I don't know. It's a shame. I just think the bond in the game was better than they're able to do on a TV show. Personally, I was more invested in the bond in the TV show. In the game. Fuck. You can clip that out of context, and I'll be embarrassed.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I've got pedals for that now. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add to this episode, or would you like me to dive into how I think the entire season will end?
Hold on. Bella's performance was great. Preferred the game version. No bullet in the table. No clickers. Radio ad. No bunny scene.
I think you got it.
People moan about the show, but yeah, I think I've hit all my
Excellent
points.
Oh, good. Good.
I did have a note about one line. I know it's going back to when David and Ellie were sitting down next to the fire when they're in that hut. David was saying that she went from. David was saying that he was a teacher before he was a preacher, and then Ellie's response was, "When you went from a teacher to a preacher, is that because it fucking rhymes?" And I'm like, what?
Shit joke.
But Nathan, they're bonded. Can't you hear it? They're bonded, Nathan. They're bonded for a
the pun
joke.
book, Ellie. Stick to
And
the pun book.
it was like no, it's because they both involve little girls.
Oh, for fuck's
God.
sake. Oh.
Well,
I know you didn't, but come on.
He was like, I just have to remind people that I didn't do it.
I didn't.
I know my name starts with a D, but they're different letters.
Drew it.
We're different by name only.
Did anyone catch the sneak peek of next week's final, by the way, final episode?
I didn't think it was all that. I just saw one clicker who's going after Ellie's mum in the flashback.
Yep. Flashback! It starts
how come-
with a flashback. It ends
We
with
have-
a flashback.
We have 45 minutes to wrap up this entire series. How
then
can
go
we
into a
fit in
flashback.
flashbacks that aren't in the game?
Well,
How are we going to do this?
Shit, it feels like I'm at the table for the talk. I'm here. We're storyboarding. Holy shit.
It's literally going to be like Joel and Ellie going to Salt Lake City. They're like driving about 70 miles an hour. They look out the window. There's a drive over there. Look, it's the mice. Okay, right. Into the hospital. Crash through the hospital window. Get the lift up because the Fireflies have got the lift working. And then go from
I
there.
would
But
watch that.
I
would watch that.
I love Joel as much as the next guy, but even 45-minute screen time is a short time for him to take out a whole hospital building full of bad guys.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
And isn't it clickers as well? There's like clickers and
I think
fireflies, isn't it?
there's they did show infected in the trailer.
No,
but
so in the flashback.
in
in
the
the
flashback.
game-
Sorry, in
In the game, is there in the hospital? Aren't there
I
clickers
don't
and?
think
no,
so.
no, there's not. No,
Oh, well, that's it then. It's all gone.
that's it. Yeah.
No more clickers.
Leading up, there is, but I think there'll be a draft next episode.
I don't think they'll have
I
it.
do.
I
do.
think we've already
I
seen
do.
the giraffe, and that was a
it's-
giraffe on a picture back in Sarah's room, and I think we've already seen that giraffe.
If that happens, I'm wiping my hand on the TV show. I'll never speak about it again.
I will go into my YouTube channel and I'll retcon everything. Everything Last of Us will be deleted.
They have to have the giraffe
No,
scene.
I don't think
They
they will.
have to.
Definitely not. Fuck you. Definitely
If they
not.
had
Fuck
the
you. We're
bunny
learning
scene-
about Ellie's mum. Fuck you. We're learning about Ellie's mum.
Yeah, and that's it. Like they have to fit in the whole Ellie's mum saga. What happened with?
I
Ellie?
don't know why she's in it. Nathan.
Fuck you. That's
They
why,
have to.
Drew.
I don't
Sorry.
understand why.
No. Sorry.
Why do we need to know about Ellie's mum? Who cares? So what is this? Is she gonna get got in the flashback and still survive, and that's why Ellie's got the cure?
I reckon Ellie's mum is giving birth to Ellie, but gets bitten on the table where she's giving birth, and that's why Ellie is immune, but comes birthed out of an infected runner turned mum. That'd be so cool! A bit like a reverse Maggie from Walking Dead, that we wanted her to give birth to a zombie. I reckon this infected person, Ellie's mum, will give
no.
birth to a human baby.
I thought he was going to say give birth to a giraffe then, but yeah, of course.
You've done that theory, dirty, Matthew. We wanted Laurie in Walking Dead to miscarry.
I thought it was Maggie.
then-
Sorry.
No, it was Laurie. It was Rick's. It was Rick's
yeah.
wife. We wanted her to miscarry when she was almost full term miscarry, and then there's the baby obviously die, and then obviously because everyone's got the
Infection.
the infection, it would then turn into a zombie inside.
Sorry,
and
yeah,
eat
that's
its way
what,
out.
yeah. I want
Jesus
that
Christ.
same but different. I want Ellie's mum to be infected and like that first like phase and give birth to Ellie, but Ellie comes out human.
Like Marlene sitting there, they've strapped her to the table and they've got to deliver the baby because she's already turned. This thing sitting on the table going mental, and they're just like C-section out, ripping out Ellie.
Yeah,
Because that's part of the process. She's nailed it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Jeez,
that's. Do you know
that's
what?
some heavy stuff.
Again, but they're not brave enough for it, Nathan. They won't do it.
But we find out next episode. I don't know if this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler, so turn the fuck off if you're not interested. But we find out next
What a
episode.
nice way of putting it.
Oh,
What a nice way of putting it.
Maybe give a bit more. Maybe give a longer spoiler warning.
Turn the fuck off right now.
Spoiler warning. Spoiler.
So what,
warning.
are we discussing what's happening at the end of this?
Next
series?
episode, we find out that
Okay.
Ellie's not the only one. There's more of them there. So if that was the hi cat. Spoiled it for my girlfriend.
Oh.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. The spoiler warning came quite abruptly. So should we just say from this point onwards,
Yes.
we are going to be speaking about what's going to be happening next episode in the game, which could likely reflect what happens in the show. So just spoiler warning from now.
Wow.
Please do turn off if you want to wait until next week to find out.
Nathan,
Understandably, some
well
people might-
put, sir. Well.
I was
You
just
continue.
going to say if that's the reason why Ellie's cured, that it's got to be a fucking coincidence that all those people that are cured had to have their mum be infected on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's
Oh, it says D-section.
clutching at straws to try and figure out what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it should be.
Yeah,
I'm in so much trouble with you guys.
I mean, I have a feeling that her being infected is just to justify the handover between Ellie's mum and Marlene. I think that's what it's going to be.
Why Marlene showed such an interest in the beginning.
Yeah, and like maybe Ellie's mum. Well, Ellie's mum does have a relationship with Marlene in the game, and she needs to pass Ellie over basically, and the infection might just be a reason for that. I can't take care of her. Here's a secret about her. She's immune. Please take her on. And then that's
So,
why she went to Marlene.
Why did Marlene make her wait if she knew? Do you think Marlene knew that she was cured?
Surely not.
Because if she obviously knows who Ellie's mum is because she mentioned it the first time she knew her name.
Mm.
So, do you think she just took care of her because out of respect for her friend who was Ellie's mum, and even though she got bit, she gave her the benefit of the doubt, and it just so happened to work out?
In the game, I think they did. Marlene was friends, and she did kind of like this is my friend's kid. I need to make sure that they're safe. But I think she did also know about the. I could be wrong on this, but I think she did know about Ellie being immune. But what are you going to do with a young child? Probably get them in Fedra school, teach them the skills they need, and then work out what to do from there. Because Marlene's someone who kind of takes time to plan, takes time for a crew to build, and then she's smart in making her moves over time. So I don't think it was like a Tess and Joel situation where they just take the child and run.
Would you like to hear how I think it'll end?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, mate, go for it. Yeah.
No. Some very good points brought up from the both of you. So again, just to reiterate, we're talking about the ending of Last of Us Part 1 and the beginning of Last of Us Part 2. This is just a spoiler warning for that. So the TV show will end how it ends in the game, with Ellie confronting Joel about what really happened at the hospital. And again, Joel not answering, and that answer being left on the cliffhanger, because I thought that was such a fantastic fucking ending for the game. It was like he just took like a deep sigh, just like, and it's just like, didn't tell you. I was like, oh, what was it? It was like, you're not lying to me, are you? And he was like, no. And it ended so abruptly. I was like, oh, you motherfuckers! I want more. I want more. And then
we waited 7 years for the biggest sort of shit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think then we will have the credits roll, and it will be a post-credit scene. And we're at a funeral, and we only see the back of a female character, and someone else at the funeral says goodbyes to the grave and then tells this female character, this is like, Abby, come on, we have to get going, we have to keep moving, we have to go and do this. And it's and we're introduced to Abby, but only the back of Abby, because I don't know if they've casted Abby yet. I don't
They can't
know.
fit her arms in
They
the shot.
can't fit her arms in the shot, absolutely. But like, we have a bit of like an introduction of like, we're at the funeral of Abby's dad, and Abby's there at the grave, and it's only the back, and it's raining. In my head, I picture it so well. I've done such a bad job at explaining it, but we get introduced of like, hinted of like who Abby is, and Abby's the daughter of this dude that's had a unfortunate accident at the hospital, and
It would confirm as well that season 2 is going to be part
exactly.
2.
It will confirm season 2's part 2. It will confirm that Abby's going to be about. I just think it just gave myself goosebumps with that. Just like the thunder pouring, heavy rain over her grave. It's like, Abby, come on, we have to get going. And she's just like, yeah, 1 minute, give me a second. And she's just like, and she uses Ellie's line that Ellie uses in part 2. It's like, I'm gonna fucking,
Jeez, Joel.
I'm gonna, Jeez, Joel. It's like, I'm gonna fucking kill them all. It's like, oh.
I have one thing to burst your bubble about your theory.
Do it.
Where are they getting a gravestone from? Are they nicking it?
No, not like an
Are
actual
they-
grave. It's just like a hole in the ground. I don't know. They're just at the grave
Are they
site.
is Abby's camp making
They've
gravestones now?
buried the dad. Come on. They've buried the dad, and it's like, or even if they really want to do it, they have actually casted Abby, and Abby turns around and does that face onto the camera. It's like, I'm gonna fucking kill them all. It's like,
I kind of part of me kind of thinks I really hope they don't put Abby in this episode, because I'm like,
they 100% will.
how dare you taint season 1 with season 2? like when the game was written and finished, Abby wasn't even a thought, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, now that retrospectively going back and changing it, it just hurts me on the inside. But I do think that they're gonna at least have a scene where I wouldn't be surprised if they had a scene where Abby's dad, it shows that like Abby wants to spend time with her dad, and Abby's dad is like, look, you know, I'm doing something really important here. You have to understand. Like, they've brought this girl in. You know, we think we might have the cure here. You understand why I'm like this? Why I can't see you much? I will do this, and then I will be back with you. Okay, well, you know, I'll spend some time together or whatever it might be. And then he goes off to do the procedure.
And
So
never comes back.
Doesn't part 2 suggest that she was in the hospital at the same time? She just leaves a bit earlier, and then it all kicks off.
Part 2 suggests that she wasn't, if I can remember correctly, she wasn't at the hospital, and then she turns up later on, or she's in a different part of the hospital and hears about the attack and what happened, then turns up, and then she gets told about.
She was in and around the hospital. She wasn't in the hospital at the time because it was all kicking off, but she was there before. Like,
they're going to walk past each other. They've done it with Dana already. They're gonna walk past Abby.
Yeah, maybe. But this, like, I mean, I know we'll have the season 2 talk, but I really hope they kind of actually.
They won't.
No. Okay, I can't wait for the after the finale. We'll have our season 2 chat, because I'm going in. I'm going loud, and I'm going in.
I'm not sure this podcast will make it to season 2.
That's a different story. I'll bring that up in our season 1 recap podcast that we do if we decide to do that. Does anyone have anything else to add before I wrap up our wonderful episode 8 of the podcast of us?
No, I'm good.
No. No.
Wonderful. With that said and done, thank you all for sticking around on your preferred platform, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. Hope you've left a couple of comments in the chat for us to ponder and consider. Thank you very much. Please do consider following, liking, and subscribing on your chosen platform. You all know how to do this. Please do join us next week for our thoughts on the final episode of season 1 of The Last of Us, episode 9, titled Look for the Light, with a runtime of 44 minutes. Finale.
15 minutes.
44-minute finale, everyone. Yes, please do come and join us. It's the same time, the same places, 7:30 GMT at twitch.tv Mateus Players, at Mateus Players on YouTube, and at Mateus Players on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. Drew, sign us off.
Oh, fuck, I wrote it down last time. This is a
did.
popular
You
song.
did.
This may not be the last of you, but it's the last of us. Bosh!
Well done, Drew.
May not be the-
Well
I don't know
done.
whether
He did
I
good.
panicked, but I did it.
may not be the last of you, but where are the clickers?
Put the heel in the pain.
It may not be the last.